The self, which alone truly exists, and which is absolutely one, is yourself. There is no other kind of yourself. The self is absolute being, without beginning, without end, free of form, embodiment and individuality. And there is no other kind of being. This is your being. The self is consciousness, self-luminous, infinite, homogeneous. This is your own consciousness. And there isn't a second or third type of consciousness. The self is of the very nature of bliss. And there exists no happiness apart from that. The appearance of a self other than the self, a reality other than the one reality, Brahman, is merely an illusion. The power of illusion is just one's own knowing or believing in it. So that illusion is not inherent in Brahman or the self, but is merely delusion. It is delusion to regard what is not the self as the self, what is unreal as real. To eliminate the illusion so that reality comprehends itself, that is what we usually call self-realization. The Maharshi instructs that one should inquire, for whom is the illusion? The inquiry is entirely non-objective in nature. For the idea of an objective sphere of experience is also illusion. Inquiring within yourself, who am I? Ascertain your true nature, bodiless, unborn, with no creation, limitless, without rising or setting, not a body, not embodied, completely formless, yet entirely real. Ascertain the nature of your very existence by inquiring into what it is that appears as the individual. And if the inquiry is non-objective as it ought to be, there is the self-revelation of perpetually egoless being, consciousness, bliss, your true self. For whom is the illusion? The illusion of a separate self, of differentiation of any kind. The illusion cannot be for the real self. The real self, as the Maharshi explains, is true knowledge, which transcends the usual conceptions of ignorance and knowledge. True knowledge, to be true, must be innate, for the innate alone does not rise and set. What then is ignorance, and for whom is it? Difference is imagined from the standpoint of an I, the individual. Yet the individual I is itself a form of difference. Can difference imagine itself? Does ignorance delude itself? The scriptures declare that it is impossible to define Maya, illusion. For how could that which has no existence be defined? Though it has no existence, one appears to dwell in it and be bound accordingly. Until you inquire, who am I? Then the very root of illusion, the very root of delusion vanishes because it is unreal. What remains, knowing itself, is eternal. Just question the assumption that you are a body or have any of the characteristics or activities, any of the qualities of a body, such as being in space, in time, in a world, and so forth and so on. Just inquire and determine if you are the body or not. And the birthless, imperishable truth becomes self-evident. Just inquire into what you regard as I. Discern what is objective, for you cannot be an object of any kind, gross or subtle, and abandon that as definition. Eliminate that misidentification. What remains of I? True silence is that in which there is no I notion. To abide in silence, therefore, truly means to abide free of the notion or assumption of an individual. There exists one immeasurable mass of imperturbable silence, never-ending being, limitless consciousness, which is the perfect fullness. The illusion that dreams otherwise is rootless. If it seems otherwise to you in your experience, trace the seeming to your knowing of it, your believing in it. Trace the believing or knowing of it to the reality of your own being, to the knowing of your own consciousness. Know the being consciousness as it is. Brahman knows Brahman. There is no second. No matter how you practice spiritually, in the end you must come to this: self-knowledge. This much has been said as a general hint of the right direction. Inquire within and know yourself.